I think people should come see this specific production of Footloose because I think we have such an incredibly talented cast of actors, singers, dancers, storytellers, led by, an incredible director and choreographer that have also in their own right done amazing things in the professional world, that you will be seeing a show at a really high level that maybe you weren't expecting, but a show that really showcases people in their best light. And that being said, people that also are just enjoying themselves on stage. Like, we're having a blast up there, and we're truly just having so much fun. The camaraderie up there, the energy. We're enjoying ourselves so much that we want the audience to enjoy themselves as well. And also, again, bringing the heart and soul into the show. People should come see this because there's a deeper message behind all of the dancing and singing and smiling, and there's more to it. And I think, I think that's important for everyone to experience. Hi, my name is Hannah Battersby. I'm in the production of Footloose. And if you want to know more, you can listen to this conversation. Well, funnily enough, I've never seen the musical live. I've seen the movie quite a few times. So I've known the story, and I love the story, and I've always loved the dancing. And but it's funny, and and we've talked about this throughout rehearsal, and that like Footloose is a musical that people go for the song and the dance. People don't necessarily go to Footloose for the book of the musical. It's not the strongest book, but that being said, there is some depth to the musical that we have found, that we've discovered over the rehearsal process, in that, this is a story about loss, and a story about a family that has lost a family member, and a story about forgiveness, and a story about redemption, and a journey. And so it's actually a lot more profound than I was aware of. And I was like, oh, Footloose is it's got those fun pop rock ballads and stuff, and Holding Out for a Hero, and Almost Paradise. Of course, I love those songs, But then actually being in the show, I was like, oh, there's actually a lot more, again, depth and profound moments that I didn't realize. And especially with my character Ariel, she's a lot more troubled than I thought. She's going through a lot, as their family is as well, and they use song and dance as a way to kind of celebrate life again after the loss of their son / my brother. So I think that really drew me to the story, because I'm always interested in what, like, there must be something more. Like, why are we singing? Why are we dancing? Why are we telling this story? And what's the real truth underneath all this? And that's why I love doing it every night. I'm playing Ariel. She's the daughter of Shaw and Reverend Shaw and Vi. And she has grown up in a very kind of conservative, religious town. And but I think she's always kind of been a rebel. Unfortunately, there was some partying going on, and one of her siblings, her brother, was partying with some friends, and they were driving under the influence, and they crashed, and they all died. And so ever since that incident, the family, her dad especially, who's a reverend of the church, has been especially strict about keeping everything intact and keeping everyone on track in terms of not doing any partying or celebrating anything, being very, black and white. And I feel that I'm struggling to kind of find my way through this world, and that I haven't really found my voice yet. And I know that I don't want to live the life that my dad wants me to. But I know I'm actually smarter than he thinks, that I really want to branch out, and I want to kind of make a life for myself and not be so restricted, but also know that this is not a way to live. This is not a way to kind of like, I don't know. There's a lot of sadness to her, which I had discovered as well. She's a little bit sassy, but again, I think that comes from a defense mechanism. kind of having all these walls up. And she's playful, and she's again a rebel, and she wants to break out. So at the beginning, yes, she's very like following her dad's, path and like his rules and everything. And then you see as the story starts to progress that she starts to kind of break out a little bit, and she's meeting with this bad boy that she has a relationship with, and that actually becomes an emotionally and physically abusive relationship, which doesn't end up turning it's not great. And she ends up meeting Ren, and he ends up being like a really great guy. But she's kind of like, you'll see throughout the story, she's kind of like really trying to figure out who she is, and kind of honoring her brother's memory. And then at the end, basically through her relationship with Ren kind of makes an impact on her father, and her father has a change of heart, and says that the whole school can have a big dance, and they can all celebrate, and they can, party essentially. And so it's kind of a successful ending in terms of that. And so she's happy at the end. So there's quite a few main themes to the musical. I think it's a story about loss. It's a story about a struggling family and them trying to stick together through the loss of their son and a brother to Ariel. They're trying to stay connected as a family. I think it's a story about a town that is trying to break out of these really strict religious rules. And not even that they're trying to say this is bad, but they just, they want to be able to celebrate their life, and they want to be able to like be kids and enjoy themselves. And they're not able to do that in such a strict environment. More than anything, this is a story about forgiveness. And I think just forgiving others, but also more than anything, forgiving yourself. And I know Reverend Shaw has a lot to do with forgiveness and forgiving himself for allowing the parting to happen in the first place. And I'm sure he's dealing with a lot of that guilt, and that's why he's so strict about all these rules. But you can never forgive anyone else if you don't forgive yourself first. So yeah, I think it's a lot to do with that. And let's see. I think just a story at the end of this, a story about celebrating life. And life is short, honestly, and surrounding death and whatnot. Like, it's just important to think about what really matters in life, and who truly matters, and like what's worth fighting for and what's worth letting go. What am I looking forward to when I perform it? Honestly, I think doing any theater production, I always look forward to performing it a slightly different way every night. And I think that's what's super fun about live theater is obviously staying with what you've prepared and what you've rehearsed, right? And keeping the integrity of the show and the story, but also finding something new, discovering something new about your character, connections with the other characters in that world. Or like in my story with Ren, the other lead, finding moments where I haven't before, and kind of digging a little bit deeper in that way. It's also just such a fun like dance show, and Michelle Elkin's choreography is so fun to perform every night. And so honestly, I look forward to performing those, and gaining all my energy to perform those, because it's a lot, but it's been so fun. And also the singing. I love to sing the pop rock ballads. Honestly, genuinely, I think it's so fun to just let it rip. And to really just kind of embrace that kind of 80s pop rock. So I really do look forward to that every night too. Well, I can't say enough about our director and choreographer, enough good things. They truly are like the best dynamic duo. I've actually never worked with either of them before. Very Pearl has been a longtime family friend of mine. And I know obviously of his incredible work professionally, but never worked with him from an actor-director relationship. And Michelle, I've never worked with as well, but we had a small world connection where she's good friends with my former dance teacher back in college. So it was all these like small world connections that we made, which is so funny. But they truly have put their heart and soul into this production and given us such an amazing show. And Barry is so specific about what he wants and how he wants things to be, but also giving us enough freedom to allow ourselves to just express ourselves through our characters and through the story as well. And he's so dedicated and so warm and so kind and so hilarious too, that he's made this such a fun process. And Michelle has really been incredible in that she's held us to the super high standard. And she said so herself, whether you're doing an equity show or a non-union show, I don't care what it is, but I'm putting you all this high standard and you're all going to surpass that because I want you to raise the bar for yourself and embrace your highest potential. And I personally value that and resonate with that as well, that I think it's so important to put your best foot forward and be the best version of yourself. So throughout that process, it's been challenging, super rewarding, and I'm so grateful that I get to, perform her steps that tell the story, and give so much energy and life to the show, as well as, do all the notes that Barry has also given me too, in terms of the story and the acting. It truly could not have been better. We couldn't have had a better leadership duo, for this show. So I feel so grateful. I think two things that will surprise audiences about this specific production of Footloose is that, again, I think, you can look at Footloose from a surface level, and say, oh yeah, it's such a fun, like, pop rock show, and I'm just going there to have a good time. But I think we've also really found kind of the more sincere, honest moments of the show too, that I think also really the more emotional parts of the show, that will really, I think, bring the heart and soul of what this show is about and really touch audiences in that way too. Like, they're going to enjoy themselves, of course, from the dancing and the singing naturally. But I think they're also going to walk out of the theater feeling very moved as well. And I think that's when you put on a good show, that you gave them both, and you had and another thing, and Michelle, is truly fantastic, but she also she said so herself that she's all about, choreographing dance pieces that kind of tell the story, that progress the story along. And I think, Footloose is so iconic in that you kind of certain dances are going to happen, or certain choreographic moments are going to happen, but she makes it new every time. And I think she's really switched it up and made something new. And it's just, it's refreshing, I think, for audiences. And I think it's just exciting and different. And I think that's what's really cool about putting on new productions of Footloose, is that or any musical, is you can do it in a different way within the lines of the story. I guess I really am just grateful. It's been such a really positive experience. And, it's super, super fun to meet a great cast and have Michelle and Barry, and we're all, we all get so close over the last 4 weeks or a month or so, and then it's all over. So I think that's what's really fun about theater, is that you have these experiences where you do become really close over the last, month or so, and you put on a great show, and then you guys continue to kind of go your separate ways, but stay connected. But I think if we can share that with audiences, for the next 3 weekends that we have the show, then that's amazing. But I'm really grateful, that I can be part of this story, and grateful to work with such an amazing team of people. Hi, my name is Hannah Battersby. I am playing Ariel in Footloose, and I hope to see you all there for some fun pop rock songs and dance and a deeper meaning at the very end of all of it. A little surprise. See you at the theater.